You need to leave now.
I have done nothing wrong.
The antique grandfather clock in the lobby of the Cypress Grove Inn struck 10, each chime muffled by the howling blizzard that was swallowing Vermont whole. The lobby itself was a fortress of warmth, smelling deeply of pine and warm cinnamon from the giant wreaths hung on the walls. A massive fireplace crackled, casting a golden glow over deep leather armchairs. In the corner, a towering Christmas tree glittered with lights, and the quiet, velvety voice of Bing Crosby crooned "White Christmas" softly through hidden speakers. It was an image of perfect 1960s-era holiday nostalgia. But as the front revolving door groaned against the wind, the look on the night manager's face as he watched it turn was colder than the storm outside. The door pushed out Mrs. Beatrice Bea Harlow. Her old pickup truck had sputtered and died in the back of the parking lot near the snowplows, and the struggle through the blinding snow had left her breathless. She was 68, covered in snow and visibly exhausted. She wore an old paint-flecked work coat over faded jeans, her hands gripping a simple, worn messenger bag, rough from manual labor. She just wanted a warm, safe room. She stepped onto the pristine marble floor, leaving dirty puddles of melting snow and ice. Behind the grand, polished oak desk, the night manager, Arthur Pennington, stopped his quiet conversation with the young front desk clerk, Cindy. They both just stared. The warm, welcoming lobby suddenly felt ice cold, the silence broken only by the crackle of the fire and the ticking of the clock. Pennington, a man in his 50s who wore his perfectly pressed suit like armor, visibly tightened his jaw in immediate disapproval. Cindy, watching her boss for cues, quickly adopted the same look of disdain. Bea, seemingly unaware of the hostile reception, stamped the snow off her thick boots, her primary focus on the warmth. "Good evening," she said, her voice tired but polite, echoing slightly in the large space. "Thank heavens you're open. This storm is a nightmare." She approached the desk, leaving a small trail of water. "I need a room for the night, please. Just somewhere safe to sleep." Pennington did not look at his computer. He did not smile. His eyes moved slowly, deliberately, from Bea's damp wool cap, down her paint-flecked coat, to the puddle forming at her feet. He lingered on her dark, weathered face. He exchanged a quick, knowing glance with Cindy, who suppressed a small smirk. "A room, ma'am," Pennington said, his voice dripping with a polite condescension that felt sharper than the wind. "I'm afraid that's impossible. We are fully committed tonight." Bea frowns, gesturing to the empty lobby. "Fully committed? In this blizzard? Sir, I find that hard to believe. Could you please check again? The treatment Bea received was cold, colder than the blizzard outside, right? We all know the hotel isn't full. If you're still watching and your heart is with Bea, comment 8 below to let us know you're rooting for her. And if this is your first time to Black Brilliance, please take a second to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Your support is invaluable, helping us continue to bring you powerful stories of resilience and brilliance. Don't leave now, let's see how Bea deals with this blatant lie. "There is nothing to check," Pennington replied, his voice losing its polite edge and turning sharp. "This is not a highway motel, ma'am. We cater to a specific clientele." Bea's exhaustion began to harden into a cold, weary frustration. It was clear this wasn't about availability. It was about her. She placed her worn, gloved hands flat on the polished oak desk. A specific clientele. And what exactly does that mean? Across the lobby, near a stack of polished brass luggage carts, an older bellhop named Sam Gomez watched the confrontation. He was a man in his 60s like Bea, and he looked pained and deeply ashamed of his boss's behavior. Pennington leaned in, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial, insulting whisper. "It means we don't have transients. Your presence is disturbing the atmosphere." He felt a surge of power. Cindy, feeding off his arrogance, chimed in with a saccharine-sweet voice. "He means we're full, honey. Maybe try the shelter in town. I hear it's warm." She giggled softly. The cruelty of the remark hung in the air, thick and suffocating. Pennington, satisfied, turned his back to organize some papers on the back counter, a clear, final act of dismissal. In that instant, Sam Gomez quickly shuffled over from the carts, his movements furtive. He discreetly pressed a small bottle of water into Bea's hand. "Ma'am," he whispered, his eyes darting nervously back to Pennington. "Please don't argue, he's a mean one. There's a warm bench right behind the big Christmas tree. You can rest there. He won't see you." Bea was so touched by the small, risky act of kindness that she almost forgot her anger. But before she could even thank him, Pennington heard the whispering and spun around, his face flushing a deep, angry red. "Gomez, what are you doing? Get away from her." He glared at Bea, his politeness completely gone. "That's it. You are trespassing. I am giving you one final warning to leave before I call the police." "Go ahead," Bea says, her voice suddenly perfectly calm, the exhaustion gone. "Call them. Tell them I'm refusing to go back out into a deadly storm." "I will," Pennington sneered, grabbing the heavy old-fashioned telephone receiver from the desk. "You've been warned." He reveled in the moment, dialing 911 with a theatrical flourish. Sam Gomez retreated, looking horrified. Cindy watched, her smile faltering slightly, nervous but still excited by the drama. "Yes," Pennington spoke loudly into the phone. "This is Arthur Pennington at the Cypress Grove Inn. I have a vagrant. Yes, a black female, 60s, refusing to leave the premises. She's being aggressive." He described Bea's paint-flecked coat with particular relish, as if it were evidence of a crime. While Pennington was busy painting his picture of a dangerous intruder to the police, Bea calmly reached into the pocket of her worn coat. She pulled out her own smartphone. The water bottle Sam had given her was still clutched tightly in her other hand. She tapped the screen and made her own call, speaking quietly but clearly. "Michael. It's Bea." She paused, listening. "Yes, I'm fine, but the storm is bad. I'm at the Cypress Grove in Vermont." Another pause. "Yes, that one. I'm in the lobby. The night manager is currently calling the police to have me arrested." Pennington hung up the phone with a smug, final thud. "The police will be here in 5 minutes, he announced to the lobby. "You brought this on yourself." The instant he said this, the front desk phone rang again, its shrill, electronic shriek cutting through the quiet classical music. Pennington looked annoyed. "What now?" he snapped, snatching it up. "Front desk, Pennington speaking." His face, which had been red with anger, drained of all color. He began to sweat, his eyes darting from the phone to Bea, who was watching him, still holding her own phone. Mr. Stone. The CEO." Pennington stammered, his knuckles white on the receiver. "Why, yes, sir. Right now? But, His voice cracked. Bea spoke into her phone, her voice now loud enough for Pennington to hear clearly. "Yes, Michael, tell Mr. Stone thank you. Tell him I'll handle the on-site evaluation personally." She hung up. Pennington drops the receiver. It dangles, spinning by its cord. "Harlow Hospitality. That Mrs. Harlow," he whispers. Bea pulls her damp coat tighter. "As of last Tuesday, Mr. Pennington, you're standing in my lobby." Oh, that moment. Welcome to my lobby. Pennington's face was priceless. If you're still watching and your heart is pounding as fast as ours after the dramatic turnaround, comment 8 below to let us know you're here and excited. And if you believe in justice and the power of resilience, make sure you subscribe to Black Brilliance and turn on the notification bell. Your support fuels our continued search and storytelling of inspiring stories where truth and dignity shine. Don't go anywhere. Now let's see how Boss Harlow will start her first meeting. The heavy thud of the receiver hitting the cradle was the only sound as Pennington stared at Bea, his face a mask of waxy, pale horror. The drip, drip, drip of the melting snow from Bea's coat echoed the ticking of the grandfather clock. Cindy, who had been enjoying the show, was now visibly shaking, her face buried in her hands. Across the lobby, Sam Gomez looked on, his mouth open in stunned silence. Pennington's arrogant, sneering face from moments before had completely collapsed into that of a terrified subordinate. "Mrs. Harlow, please," Pennington stammered, his words tumbling out. "It was a misunderstanding. I had no idea. I was just protecting the hotel's standards." Bea held up a hand, and the desperate apology died in his throat. "Protecting the standards, Mr. Pennington? Or protecting your own prejudices?" Her voice was no longer tired. It was the crisp, clear voice of a CEO conducting an audit. She pulled out her phone again, which was already connected to the hotel's system. "Michael," she said, activating the speakerphone, "please pull up the file for the Cypress Grove Inn night shift. Specifically, the guest complaints from the last 6 months." A man's clear, professional voice, Michael, the CEO, filled the quiet lobby. "Reading now, Mrs. Harlow. In the last 6 months, 14 formal complaints regarding rude service. 6 alleging discriminatory language toward guests of color. 2 complaints, one from October 12th, one from September 3rd, specifically naming Mr. Pennington for refusing service based on perceived social standing." Bea looked at Pennington, her eyes cold. "I came here tonight because of these reports. I needed to see it for myself. You did not disappoint." She then looked at both him and Cindy. "Mr. Pennington, your employment is terminated, effective immediately, for gross misconduct and repeated violations of company policy. Cindy, for your active complicity and appalling lack of basic human decency. You are also terminated. Please collect your personal items." Pennington paled, grasping the desk. "Please, it's almost Christmas. I have a family. It's a blizzard," Bea replied, her voice like ice. "And I am a 68-year-old woman you were about to throw into that blizzard for the crime of wearing the wrong coat. You are done here." She disconnected the call, and the lobby fell silent, save for Cindy's quiet, high-pitched sobbing. Bea turned her gaze away from the disgraced pair, and her eyes landed on the person still frozen by the luggage carts. "Mr. Gomez," she called out. "Sam, please step forward." Sam Gomez flinched, his heart pounding. He clutched his old wool cap in his hands, certain that he was about to be fired for the bottle of water. He shuffled forward, his eyes glued to the marble floor, unable to look at the powerful woman he had mistaken for a vagrant. "Yes, Mrs. Harlow. Ma'am, about the water. I just..." She looked so cold. In the background, the quiet, humiliating sounds of Pennington and Cindy packing their personal items. A photo frame, a coffee mug, into a cardboard box provided a stark contrast. They were forced to witness what was happening next. "Sam, please look at me." Bea's voice was different now. The stern, executive command was gone, replaced by a gentle softness. He slowly raised his eyes. She was smiling, a genuine warm smile. "In the last hour, Mr. Gomez, you were the only person in this establishment who treated me like a human being. You didn't know who I was. You just saw someone in need." Sam was confused. I was just..." "You risked your job," Bea continued, "for a simple act of kindness. That, Mr. Gomez, is the standard I'm looking for." She gestured to the front desk, where Pennington was numbly placing his brass nameplate into the box. "I didn't buy this hotel just to fire people. I bought it to fix it. I cannot run this place with people like them," she nodded toward Pennington, "but I cannot run it without people like you. As of this moment, you are the acting night manager and director of guest experience. We'll get you a new suit and a new title. Your first job is to help me retrain the entire staff." Sam sways, gripping the desk for support. "Manager? Ma'am, I'm just a bellhop. I've been a bellhop for 30 years. You're not just a bellhop, Sam," Bea said, patting his arm. "You're the heart of this inn." "Now," she sighed, the exhaustion of the long day finally settling back in, "I believe I asked for a room about an hour ago." Sam blinked, snapping back to reality. Yes, ma'am. Of course." He hurried behind the desk, his hands trembling as he fumbled with the computer mouse that Pennington had used with such disdain. "The penthouse suite. It's our finest room. It's ready for you." He carefully handed her the keycard. As he did, the front revolving door groaned again. A young couple, looking frozen and terrified by the storm, entered the lobby. They looked nervously at Sam, clearly expecting to be turned away. Sam took a deep breath. He stood up straight, pulling his old uniform jacket taut. He gave them the warmest, most genuine smile he had. "Welcome to the Cypress Grove Inn," he said, his voice clear. "It's a terrible night out there, but you're safe now. Let's get you a warm room." Bea watched this interaction, her heart swelling with a deep, profound satisfaction. She nodded once, knowing the inn was in good hands. She picked up her worn messenger bag and walked toward the brass elevators. "Good night, Mr. Gomez," she said. Sam turned back to her, standing taller than he had in 30 years. "Good night, Mrs. Harlow," he replied, his voice proud. "And welcome to your hotel." The brass elevator doors slid shut, reflecting the warm lobby lights and the glittering Christmas tree. Sam Gomez, the new night manager, turned to his new guests. A new era for the inn beginning before the storm had even passed. The snowstorm at the Cypress Grove Inn eventually passed, but the lesson from that night remains, echoing in the quiet, warm lobby. Like a hidden ember glowing in the hearth, true kindness often reveals itself in the most unexpected places, not in a pressed suit, but in a simple, offered bottle of water. It reminds us that when we choose to look past the surface, discarding judgment for compassion, we often discover the true measure of a person's heart. If this story of quiet dignity touched you, perhaps consider sharing that warmth, reminding those around you that every person, regardless of their coat, deserves to be seen.